Today we have the 2022 Nissan Armada. It's a big classic style V8 SUV. It may not be as modern or updated as some of the other three-row competitors like the new Sequoia or the Chevy Tahoe, for example, but this Armada still has a lot to offer, including this V8 under the hood. We're going to take a big detailed look at it on the exterior, the interior, and get it out on the road for a test drive so you see exactly what you get. Before we get started, thank you for watching. My name is Nolan. I do full reviews like this every week, but if you want to skip from part to part in this video, I put chapters in the description below, but let's jump into it. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Let's take a look at all the exterior details of this 2022 Nissan Armada. Now it was updated for 2021 and trim levels are the same with the S, the SV, the SL shown here, and the top end Platinum. Now this particular model, the SL, has the Midnight Edition package, so everything is blacked out. I mean, you're gonna get black accents everywhere, including this grille. And we've got these LED headlights standard with the accent LED running light around here. I like these accent lights above and below that run all the way around. Those are full LED, plus you'll get LED fog lights optional on the SV and standard on everything up from there. These headlights definitely make a statement. They look nice as well. Plus you've got this LED blinker built in right here. So full LED up front all the way around. This Armada looks kind of sinister because it is in super black paint plus this Midnight Edition package. I'm surprised we don't have black wheels and black door handles because this thing is kind of murdered out already with the Midnight Edition package. You've got black V8 badging, plus we've got 20-inch wheels on this Midnight Edition. I think they look pretty nice though. There's still going to be some bling, as you can see the badge on the side here, the chrome door handles, and then the mirror we've got a turn signal, an LED turn signal in there. Plus these mirrors actually have the blind spot indicator and their automatic dimming on this SL trim and higher. Dimensionally, this is about 209 inches long, just a tad shorter than the Expedition and the Tahoe. It still gets 9.2 inches of ground clearance, which is excellent. And then up on the top, you'll see you still get roof rails, which are nice to see on everything except the base model, so you can throw some of your cargo up there. This even has the built-in running boards. You could always remove those. Those are built into the body here. The Armada also gets an independent suspension instead of a live axle like some trucks, and it's got an automatic leveling rear end for towing. Plus look back here, you've got LED taillights, you've got LED blinkers, and these kind of mirror the LED lights up front with the way that those wrap around. Armada branding is blacked out here as well, just like the SL because of our Midnight Edition package. Down here you're also going to find that you can get a spare tire. You get a spare tire underneath, plus you can get a 7-pin wiring hitch receiver. Now a look at the cargo area. You got a massive vehicle, so you'd expect massive space. Let's see. So there's a power liftgate optional on the SV trim and standard up above from there. There's no foot activated liftgate at this time if you're looking for that. And back here, there's about 16 cubic feet, but there's less than you would expect because look how big this bumper sticks out, or how much that sticks out. I mean, this is kind of common, but lately vehicles have been trimming this back, extending the cargo area, so you lose some exterior dimensions and increase the interior dimensions. But back here, I mean, this is enough for some carry-on suitcases to be able to fit at least a couple. There's a standard size backpack. Each side gets a little tie down right there, a metal tie down here. There is a 12-volt power outlet back there. And then under here is a little bit of storage. It's very shallow, but you can fit a couple things, maybe jumper cables back there. And if you lift that up, then you get your jack kit. The Platinum model will give you power folding seats. Otherwise you have to reach up and pull that, push that down on each side, and you'll get about 50 cubic feet. It does lay fairly flat with a slight incline, but that opens the space up quite a bit, a good amount of space with that. One thing to keep in mind is you do have to come to the second row to fold this seat down, or you can have it like this, have some extra storage behind it. Or if you just have it folded, you've got a nice lineup of flat storage area right there. The center armrest does kind of protrude a little bit. Then you'll get well over 90 cubic feet with everything folded down. The one thing I would like to see, now going back to kind of family practicality, is some grocery bag hooks, something like that, or some hooks to be able to sling some stuff, you know, little integrated hooks where you can hook a bag up or something like that, but they don't have that, surprisingly. Now looking at Nissan's key fob, it's the same small little slim key fob that you get standard on every Armada. You know, it's their old fob, it doesn't look great, but it is slim, fits into your pocket well, and it has remote start on the SL trim and higher. The way it works, it's all controlled with a button. There's no sensor back here. You just push this to lock it, or you push that to unlock it. The one negative is that it is not available on the back door, at least on this SL trim. I was expecting all the doors to have that, just in case you have family and you get into the back seat frequently. When moving into the front seats, the base model is going to give you cloth, then you'll move up to a leatherette, and then we get real leather on this SL trim. And these seats are comfortable, as you would expect from Nissan. Nissan generally has very comfortable seating. I'll talk about that in a second, but it's leather. It's not real soft, like super squishy leather. It's actually kind of a firm, supportive seat. You have some moderate bolstering on the sides. And then down here, you've got lumbar support, height and tilt, all your basic adjustments for 10-way power. One bonus is you'll find memory settings once you get this SL trim and higher. Getting in and out is also easy, even though it's pretty tall, because you have a grab handle built in on both sides. So you and your passenger can get in, plus these running boards down here. Now comfort-wise, like I said, they are comfortable. I've been totally fine. The lumbar support is enough. The SV is going to give you heated seats and everything up from there. If you want ventilated or cooled seats, you have to go for the top-end Platinum trim. It's not even an option on this SL trim. The Platinum will also give you nicer quilted leather seats as well, but these ones seem to be just fine. The steering wheel is also power, tilt, and telescoping, so when you activate your memory settings, it will automatically move for you without having to lift a finger. Now as we move into the back seat, real quick on the door, on this SL trim, we still get nice soft material here, a big padded soft armrest and grab handle, and then you've got a couple of integrated little bottle holders in there, but there's more to show you. So we have captain's chairs right now, but bench seats are actually standard on every trim, but you can get these captain's chairs optional on the SL and the Platinum. This comes with our midnight package. Getting in is also still easy. You've got a grab handle built in on both sides, and for those of you with families, that's my rear-facing car seat with an extension piece. I can't fit it where I like to sit, behind where I like to sit right here. If I didn't have the extender, possibly, but I was a little disappointed by that considering the large dimensions of this vehicle. Now, sitting behind myself, I've got good foot space and good knee space right here. I'm 5'9", and that's where I like to have my seat. One thing that I really appreciate is that AC controls are actually standard. You can control it from the front seat, or you can control it from the back seat. I love having our own temperature control right here, fan speed, automatic, whatever you want. I love that. The other cool thing is, check this out. There's a button right here. Lift that, and then you can get into the center console. So if there's something in there, you know, most time the center console will only lift back like that. It's a pain in the butt to get in that from the second row seat, but not with the Nissan. With our captain's chairs here, we get this big, giant padded armrest. I mean, this pad is actually really nice right here. Lift this up and you have a pretty huge bin right here. I mean, this is just massive. Right here, you also have some cup holders, and they're bigger than you'd expect because this piece can move. So that's nice. You got multiple cup holders in the back. This armrest is stationary though. It does not move, so you can't just like lift it up and have a seat right here. You have to go for the bench seat if you want a seat, and it also limits you so you can't climb in between the seats. Both sides get their own light and air conditioning vent up overhead. Underneath the center console, you get even more plugs, including a 3-prong 120-volt power outlet and a couple more USB ports. If you want heated seats, you'd have to move up to the Platinum trim. Again, not an option on any other trim except the top and most expensive trim. And you can get a rear seat entertainment system with that Platinum trim too, where you got a couple of large screens for these backseat passengers to mess with. These seats don't scoot forward and backwards because they have a funny folding mechanism, which I'll show you, but they do recline. So you've got a big reclining motion, and you've got good headroom, good space, because this is just a big, tall vehicle. Then getting into the third row, you can pull this lever and it just kicks that seat up out of the way. Not the most ideal for a 3-row, especially if you want to have a car seat here and still be able to get into the third row, but this does give you a ton of space to get back there. Now in the back seat, you do get your own cup holders on each side, plus each side also still gets an air vent, which is great to see, especially if you have the seats down and you have pets back here too. But legroom is extremely cramped. I cannot comfortably sit here at 5'9" with my legroom, nor can I with my headroom. My head is touching the ceiling. I have to bend a little bit. Disappointing for a vehicle this size and with a 3-row appeal. But just to show you, there are 3 seats available back there, and it's a 40-60 split. So you could maybe have a seat folded for extra storage and still fit someone back here. To the interior here, and Nissan has made some updates over the years, but it still kind of feels and looks a little bit outdated, with the exception being that big screen right there. But first of all, over on the door, we actually get some really nice soft material right here. You get real leather door trim on the SL trim and up, a big soft padded armrest, and this big grab handle. So I like this door for the most part. There's no actual pocket like there is for a normal door handle. You've got automatic one-touch windows, and that's on all 4 windows. You got your memory settings up on the door. You've got a bottle holder and some secondary storage. My decently sized Gatorade bottle fits in there pretty well. Now the steering wheel is going to be leather wrapped right here on every single trim. You can get this heated on the Platinum model. And if you're looking for rain sensing windshield wipers, those are only on the Platinum model as well. I'm not a fan of the layout of the buttons on Nissan steering wheel, just comparatively to other vehicles. I think they're a little bit just not so ergonomic. You know, there's big spread between them all. Other than that, I like the way the steering wheel design is. I kind of like this more traditional 4-spoke design with the big hole in the middle, the gaps here. It's still comfortable enough, even though it's not real bulky. Then in front of us, a 7-inch display is going to be standard, but you still get a couple of physical gauges right here, and then a good amount of information in the middle. So you use your steering wheel to go through all of this, and you can see bunch of different things that you go through on here. You can even customize what's available for you to see or whatever you want to see on this screen. Now backing out material wise, there's going to be some nice material mixed into different areas. Otherwise there's a lot of piano black on here, even though there's not a lot of touch points up there, or it's better than down here where you have kind of this patterned plastic, but you do have some trim running around that. So if you are all about the materials, it's a mix match in this Armada. Just keep in mind, this is not the top Platinum trim either. But this is the 12.3-inch screen, which is now standard on every single Armada. So the one thing is that this looks and feels like old Nissan tech. It's simple to use, but it's not as extravagant as some other systems. You do get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto standard. It does not take up the whole screen. At least I have not figured out how to get rid of the split screen. You can customize the split screen to have different information there, but otherwise, it's nice that this is wireless. It's actually only wireless Apple CarPlay, not wireless Android Auto. The wireless is nice because you have a wireless charging mat kind of tucked back in there. Go back to the details on here. You're going to get anywhere from a 4-speaker to a 6-speaker, all the way up to a Bose 13-speaker sound system. And I think it sounds pretty good. It's not great, but it's better than nothing, and definitely better than a 4-speaker system on the base model. Navigation is actually standard with this screen for every model, but I still prefer my Apple CarPlay, Google Maps type of navigation. The other thing is Wi-Fi is also standard on here too. So if you have Wi-Fi capability purchased, then you can connect to the system with your devices. Then coming down, even though that's all touchscreen, we have a volume knob and a tuning knob and a couple of other buttons right here, and your screen brightness. And then down from there, you've got dual zone climate control up here. And I like the big knobs. I like the actual buttons that you can push. Even though it's piano black, I just love having basic controls like that. And then you can control the rear by pushing this button, or completely turn it off if you want. So families, parents, if you got people in the back, it's really nice to be able to control the rear temperature, fan speed, all of that from up here. Now going back up to our screen, we have this surround vision camera, this 360-degree camera. It's not quite as crystal clear as some others, but you can see a couple different views right next to it. You've got the hitch line in the middle there as well, and you're also going to have parking sensors on here. Below our wireless charging mat, we have a trailer brake controller. This is awesome. You have a V8 and you have a big vehicle that can tow. It's nice to know you have an integrated trailer brake controller. You also have USB-A, USB-C over here, and a 12-volt power outlet right there. But once we get back here, this is where it's a little bit less practical, at least in my opinion, for a family vehicle. Move this out of the way. I like how we have this control knob right here. First of all, let me talk about the positives. This control knob controls the screen. You've got some shortcuts. You can quickly access your 360 camera. You can select things without having to reach up there, because it is kind of a reach. It's up high and it's kind of far back, but you can still touch it. Your cup holders are over here, but there's no area to like stash something. Your phone can go in there for wireless charging, but there's not like a key drop or a little, item like that. There's nothing built into the dash as well, so not quite as much little storage practicality as I was expecting. If you get an Armada with 4-wheel drive, you've got the automatic 4-wheel drive setting, otherwise 4 high and even 4 low. So that is pretty cool. I love having the full-time automatic 4-wheel drive built in. You got a big old center armrest right here, although it feels like it sits kind of low relative to where I want to sit in my seat. Lift this up. You've got a movable storage mat that can come over here. And there's just this big giant open bin, and that's a switch to turn on the rear power outlet, but big giant bin. Nissan gives you a lockable glove box, soft opening, but it's pretty darn slim. There's an automatic dimming rearview mirror with garage controls on here. That's always nice to see. That's on the SV optional or standard up from there. Pull this out. You don't have a moving visor, but you have this slide out piece, which is actually bigger than what most will offer. Overhead, you get a sunglass holder, of course. We've got LED interior lighting in here, and then we have a sunroof as well. Nissan is not messing around under the hood. You get a V8 standard. So right here we've got the direct injected 5.6 liter V8 with 400 horsepower and 413 pound-feet of torque. It's paired with a 7-speed automatic, and it can come in rear-wheel drive standard or 4-wheel drive. The power numbers are good, the torque numbers are good, but so is everything else in this category, so keep that in mind. It's incredibly inefficient though, so if you love a V8, you can get it, but you're gonna suffer with the mileage. With this particular 4x4 model, it's gonna be 13 in the city, 18 highway, and 15 combined. On the flip side though, you can tow 8,500 pounds, and it's capable. It has a self-leveling rear suspension, so you don't have a bunch of squat in the back. You also have an integrated trailer brake controller that you saw under there, and even trailer sway control. All right, now we are behind the wheel of this Armada, and a couple quick notes right off the bat is that safety feature wise, this has Nissan Safety Shield 360, so you're gonna have the automatic emergency braking, the blind spot indicators, things like that kind of around the vehicle. And then we have a lane departure system, but we don't have a lane like centering technology like you do on, say, the Rogue or the Pathfinder. Same with radar cruise control. We have radar cruise control just like those have. But my overall first impression of the Armada is that it just feels like a classic V8, just a big SUV, and I like the way that it feels. I mean, it feels like a big vehicle. It's the kind of vehicle where you feel like you just have command of the road. And this V8 is not as torquey as like some of the new turbos, like for example from the new Sequoia. It's got over 500 pound-feet of torque in a certain model, but it's still peppy enough. A little bit of pedal. And it was quick to respond. This transmission has been very smooth for me in the time I've driven it. This is the 7-speed transmission. And if I had to talk about handling, obviously it's not going to be great in a big SUV. We'll go around some corners, but for being a big SUV, it's easy enough to drive and easy enough to handle. I think most people are going to feel comfortable in here. There is some body lean, although it's not terrible. Aside from handling, ride comfort in here is very good. We have an independent suspension in the back, which leads to better handling than like most trucks will have a solid axle back there. But it soaks up big bumps, small bumps. It's just a very smooth sailing vehicle going over bumps. And this doesn't have massive wheels. It's got 20-inch wheels, which are still big, but relative to other vehicles, not as big, which leads to good ride comfort. Totally comfortable with the ride comfort in here. And even though this is a big vehicle, I haven't touched on this yet, you still have good visibility. We have good mirrors, blind spot indicators, and the fact that it's so boxy leads to good sized windows in here as well. Now let me give you a little taste of this acceleration here. Pedal down. And it's quick, it's powerful, it's just not as torquey as some turbos. For example, when you start to put pedal down in some of those newer turbos, it gives you a pretty big punch right away, but passing power in this is good. The power overall is good. The towing capability is good. Now going around a corner like that, you feel the body lean. But I think the V8 is what's going to attract a lot of you, because so many of you probably grew up with V8s and are used to a V8 being under the hood of a vehicle like this, and you just can't settle for a smaller V6. Now, if we compare this to other 3-rows, driving wise, it just feels a little bit big and floaty relative to maybe the Tahoe, I would say. I haven't been in the new Sequoia. The new Expedition is a soft rider, but it is kind of floaty too, just like this is. Power is good. It's definitely a very refined sounding V8, and this transmission has been just boom. It's just been right on. Now, road noise wise, this all trims are going to actually come standard with laminated acoustic glass right there. There's acoustic lamination in the windshield as well, so you're going to block out some wind noise, and road noise is good too. So the Armada definitely passes the test of being a quiet vehicle, which is great for families. Now, ergonomics wise, I like where everything is. For the most part, the screen's a little bit far back and slanted up, but you can control it with this down here. I wish that we had an extra little storage cubby in here, considering it's a family vehicle for the most part, but it's comfortable. It's comfortable ride, comfortable drive, and it's powerful. Now, to wrap things up on this 2022 Nissan Armada, it is starting to feel outdated with some of the updates to the competition. Now, I haven't been in the new Toyota Sequoia, but that's enemy number one for this Nissan Armada. I love that Nissan still offers a V8, even though it's incredibly inefficient. It's a big bodied vehicle, but the interior space isn't quite what I was expecting in the 3rd row or the 2nd row, even though it is still good. You'll have to definitely test it out for yourself, but if you like the towing capability, the 4-wheel drive capability, the V8 power, and just a big vehicle like this that's comfortable, then the Armada might be for you. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think down below of this Nissan Armada, and would you go for this or a different 3-row SUV? Hope you have a great day. If you enjoyed it, leave a thumbs up and subscribe below. Have a good one.